Hi, I'm Sally.
And I'm Steve. And guess what? We're going to be here every week, whether you like it or not, on Valley Community Channel.
That's at valleytv.ca too.
It is?
Yes, and we are Random Acts of Rural. We're going to be available on Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m.
Geez, I'm on my second cup of coffee at 10 a.m. Well, Random Acts of Rural brings up a lot of the good, the bad, and the ugly. What do you think, Sally?
Well, we've got all of the above.
We know I'm the good.
Yes.
So you've got to choose between the bad and the ugly. I don't know.
I actually kind of enjoy being bad.
Okay. There it is. Well, we won't say anything who's behind the camera because we need a third person
Yeah,
here.
we're not going to call her
There
ugly.
you
No,
go.
we are not.
Okay.
Anyway, if you have projects that you'd like to talk about or questions, concerns, or complaints, you can reach us at hello@valleytv.ca. Just email that and we'll look into what you want us to look into.
Can I sort of say, if it's a complaint, could they put attention Sally on that part of the email and stuff, just so, you know, she's much better at handling complaints, but looking forward to hearing from you, for sure.
Oh, you are so kind.
Well, no problem. I say let's get this party started.
Okay, let's go. Steve and I are both recovering politicians, and that left us without a job, but with a lot of opinions. It's not just opinions, so it's knowledge. We have banks of education that we need to keep using.
And many politicians were volunteers before they were politicians, which gave them the desire to try to solve problems from the inside out instead of the outside in. That's why Sally and I got into the business. Now we're back out of the business and we're right back into the volunteer pool.
Yeah, I notice when I am asked a question, though, I always try and figure out how we're going to pay for it. It's like, oh, how are we going to pay for that?
Yeah, you got to purge that politician out of you eventually and stuff, because there's no money for volunteers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the big problem there. So,
Yes.
But we work on it, and you know what? Money comes in funny forms, and people are that form that they'll just pick up and do whatever they want, and time is money.
Yes, and there is a lot more time than there is money.
Yep, and I've already heard you're deeply involved in volunteering in your community, and I got run onto the Volunteer Society and dug right in that, and I think we're up to 8 strong in Spence's Bridge, which is a pretty significant group, so I'm excited about it.
That is significant in a community that small.
Yeah.
I know that the village of Clinton is having some big weekends coming up. They have the Clinton Annual Ball and Heritage Week and the Mayball Rodeo. And if you're at all interested in anything community, get out there and volunteer.
Absolutely. Farmers markets too. They're all down the road and stuff like that, starting in Lytton actually, right down through Spence's Bridge and Cache Creek and Clinton and stuff. They're getting ready fire on up. In fact, some have already fired up, and so farmers market is another big deal. Once again, volunteers.
Ah, you brought up fire.
I did.
Oh, it's fire and flood season.
That's right, and we need to be prepared, and you know, and that's something that we face every year. You know, most areas in BC, or a lot of areas in BC, don't face it on an annual basis, but every year we don't think if we're going to have fires and floods. We just think how many and the magnitude of them.
Yes.
And it's just something that we have grown to expect, and that's where the volunteers come in, and we struggle mightily because we really don't have the resources to deal with them in a lot of cases.
Well, I think that everybody needs to get personally involved in the fire smarting. Where I live, we don't have much in the way of floods. If we get flooded, you're all in trouble.
Yeah, fire smarting is a very good program, and it's something that smaller communities can get involved in.
But I would say that building homes on alluvial fans and floodplains is a very bad idea. And I do know that local governments are responsible for allowing some of that to happen.
Yeah, you know, with the climate change and stuff, let's face it, as we move forward and building codes come out and all the setbacks are being developed in new communities or communities like Lytton that have to be rebuilt completely, let's address that in the rebuild. Because if we don't do it now and you do it after the fact, then it's so costly, and it just doesn't make any sense to not build forward with climate change as a priority.
Well, I'm not sure that it's even the climate change that we need to educate ourselves to. I used to read Michener every year, and Michener books always start with the beginning of time. And you learn a lot about how an island is created or a valley is created. Read a little more Michener.
Yeah, you're smarter than I am. I mean, I haven't read I know who James is.
Yeah.
I know his first name. That's about it for me in Michener. So there you go. But yeah, it's a big picture, and it's something that's not going to happen overnight, but it's something everybody's aware of. But it just seems like we just are having a real struggle. We're stuck in quicksand to try to deal with it.
Yes. And fortunately, no alligators in that swamp, though.
Yeah. But with the season coming, with fires and floods and stuff, I want everybody to, sort of be on the lookout and, once again, keep the cigarette butts in the, in control. And if you see something going on, see some smoke, report it, and all those little things that really do make a difference. As Sally knows, a grass fire can start pretty fast and get away from you within seconds.
Absolutely, and what looks like a really good idea at the time can light up a stump underground, and it can flare up much later.
Yeah, in the morning, we burnt down our fruit stand. We did some burning, so we're pretty religious about making sure fires are out, and that's exactly what happened, Sally. We basically we're burning some bush like you always do in the spring and stuff while you can, and we went in the house that night, and what had happened is it went underground. It caught the railroad ties, which our fruit stand was built on. You catch a railroad tie on fire, good night Irene kind of thing and stuff. We woke up into the morning to our fruit stand ablaze. The volunteer fire department gentleman did stop by. He had me driving by, and he came in, and as I'm looking at it, and he said, Steve, I don't think we're going to be able to save this thing. And we knew, and we lost our fruit stand that day. In probably less than 2 hours.
Yeah, it's very fast.
It happens. Very fast. And so you got to really be careful when you're burning too. I mean, even if you're doing some innocent burning, as a lot of us do, the things happen fast. The winds pick up fast.
Yes, know what you're doing. And if you don't know, ask somebody who does.
Yeah. So, anyways.
Yeah. So, want to talk about buyer's remorse?
Yeah, buyer's remorse. What do you got? What do you got on buyer's remorse?
Well, we had an election in November, and I know a lot of people who are going, what the hell happened?
Well, the people voted for change all through the province and stuff, probably all across Canada, but certainly through this province. Huge vote for change. Mayors, councillors, MPs, MLAs. We got a lot of new ones.
Yeah. And sometimes not enough people got out to vote.
Yep.
Sometimes not enough people got out to vote who were paying attention.
Here's my pet peeve. Not only do not enough people vote, look at the percentages. You're in the 30s if you're lucky and stuff, the people that vote. And then those 30%, I don't know what the percentage is, but how many people actually did their homework, says, okay, here's the people running for mayor, council, MP, MLA, even us lowly little directors and stuff like that. Did the incumbent do a good job? I can look that up in probably 3 minutes and see if they did it. Look at their record, the history. The people running against them, do they have a history of volunteering? Have they been good for their community? What have they done? Once again, Google a quick search, 15 minutes, you can find out. Be informed. So of that 35% that voted, my question is, how many did that homework before they went and voted? A lot of people vote angry.
Oh yes, but that's what we count on, is getting the attention of angry voters.
Yep, and I don't think we're going to get into a much better place. I feel we're on an election merry-go-round. Ever since I've been elected 10 years ago was first time. Election merry-go-round that until we get more voters to come out, younger voters to come out, and also that do their homework to come out, you're not going to get off this merry-go-round that everybody seems to be complaining about.
Oh, yes, but we also need education in our schools.
Yes, we do.
People think that democracy and communism are opposite. And not communism and capitalism being opposite.
But who's going to trigger that? Not you or me.
No, but people have real fear of their children being taught that in schools if they have a particular view at home.
Yeah. I know. It's
that one's a tough one.
The never-ending story,
yeah.
And it is a tough one. There's a lot of tough nuts to crack, and I think you take it one at a time, and that's sort of what I did. I took it one at a time, and you're not going to be successful every time either. That's the hard part, and stuff. You might have 3 failures and then get a success, and sort of what it's all about when you're in politics, but it's also what it's all about when you're a volunteer.
Yeah.
So, but without it, you don't move the small communities forward, rural communities forward and stuff like that. It's a collective effort.
Yes. So another issue throughout our small communities, our rural area, is of volunteers and employees. We're short of people. Now, when somebody brings this up, I usually point out that they didn't have enough children. You did. You had enough children.
A lot of children, yes. Getting a lot of grandchildren, up to 10, double digits.
Good for you, Steve.
Yeah.
I only had 2 children. And their father.
Yeah.
We need more people.
You do. And if you're children with a farm, growing up being a farmer, you 0 out of 10, 0 out of 15, whatever I am. That's where I'm at. Is you want to go back to a farm. Farming's hard. If you want to come back and be a farmer and take it over, most often, maybe not. Some do. But that being said, look at what we're doing with our small business community. The lifeblood of our rural communities is small business. Yet they cannot get staff in for any amount of time steady. And that is a huge problem. A lot of these businesses are saying closed down because they're not successful businesses. If you're just a tourist going by, how come so many businesses are shuttered? They don't understand that in the rural areas, you actually have to have staff to keep the doors open and stuff. And one of the serious problems, not just from COVID, it was before and it's still after COVID, is we can't staff these small businesses. So these small business owners, they can work 16 hours a day, but how long does that last?
I know that when I was a young person and worked in Blue River, I ran the Sandman Inn in Blue River. We had to provide accommodation to attract people, paid their bus ticket, come on up, provided accommodation, and that's how we got employees.
We just got an employee at the packing house, and she's a rock star because we had accommodations. We had a place for her to live to that point, and so she's living in a little 2-bedroom behind that packing house, and that's why she stayed. She was leaving Spence's Bridge. She loved it, but she wasn't going to stay. Even though she loved the community, no place to live.
So, housing is a problem, and getting enough employees is a problem. Maybe we need to house our employees.
Maybe
that's the answer.
And I would even go as far to say if you can have a healthy business community, it would be nice to pay these employees who, in our case, say at the packing house, they're doing a person and a half's work and getting paid minimum wage. Now, we do pay a little above minimum wage, very little, but my point is you need to pay them a wage so they can make a living and pay the rent or pay for housing and stuff like that. And sometimes for a small business, that's tough to do. So there's a lot of pieces of that puzzle.
Yeah, minimum wage.
Yeah.
Do you know what minimum wage means? That you can be replaced in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Your experience, your honesty, your ability means nothing.
I know. And those employees are so valuable, you just want to pay them more. You really do as a business owner, but then the bottom line and stuff, and it's tougher. Look at the prices, you're buying the food and the wholesale, say in the restaurant business. Well, it's not just the restaurant business, it's throughout. The supply and demand have risen prices, and now you have a supply chain problem, so you can't get things.
Yeah, I know.
It's really complex, and it seems to be. And do you remember talking about supply chain issues even 5 years ago? No.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, we at the Northern Development Initiative Trust, we talked about supply chain issues.
Well, there you go.
You know, we were ahead of the game there.
We're
Yeah.
ahead of the curve and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But so it's a difficult decision, and the lifeblood of a rural communities is small business.
Yes. Yeah.
End of story.
And it's really easy for me to sit here and play down minimum wage, but it is tough.
It is.
The whole thing is tough, and if you can't make enough money to drive a vehicle to work, and you can't live close enough to your job, you can't go to work.
Here's an idea, and I've had this for a long time. I would like to see our corporate community, because we can't do this alone, but if our corporate community buys in, we can work at home now. We got high-speed internet. So this is the first time that this has been a viable idea in the last year or two. Let's say we now have fiber optics in Spence's Bridge coming from Merritt on the highway and everything, even in the outskirts of Spence's Bridge. Work at home jobs, $30 to $40 an hour jobs. Our hospitals are closed. Our schools have been emptied and stuff like that. How do you bring the younger generation back to rural? You get a corporate buy-in where when you turn in your job resume, Hydro or TELUS or Highland Valley Copper say, we've got these work from home jobs. Guess what? The other benefit is quality of life. You buy a $200,000 house on a river in a beautiful place. You work from your home. Maybe childcare is a little bit easier also. We need to have that piece of the puzzle happen now that we have high-speed internet, because now you can work from home. Data entry is a work from home job. Many corporations have data entry jobs.
And, you know, just playing around with that, if you emptied an office building in Vancouver and put those people who worked in the office building at home doing their jobs, that office building could be housing.
Yes, there you go. And further to that, if you're taking people out of your building and TELUS on BC Hydro, you have more office space. You have a greener environment because you've taken wheels off the road. The carbon footprint is lessened. Those are all side benefits of working at home too. So you help clean up the climate a little bit too. I mean, it seems like a no-brainer to me, but you need to really be able to walk into TELUS or to Hydro and say, here's your work at home options and stuff like that. We really like your resume. Would you like to work from your house?
Yep.
Seems pretty simple to me. I don't get it.
Yeah, but, you know, I'm pretty sure, how would you make sure they did their job?
Yeah.
Well, you'd be able to tell by their productivity.
Yeah.
What if their teenager did it? Well, that would still get your job done, wouldn't it?
And that's the beauty of data entry, because you know what you want done in 30 days. So if they don't get the data entry done, there are jobs. Not all jobs are going to be work from home jobs, but jobs that you can measure how much you've done in a month. If you don't got anything, when you're going to get fired anyways and stuff, you have to bring it back. And guess what? You can take those 30 days and maybe be a rock star at your company and move up the chain to working at home. Well, that was a roller coaster ride, and we'll do it again next week on Wednesday, 10 a.m., same time, same channel, different cup of coffee. And anyways, rocking the rural. What do you say, Sally?
Yeah, Random Acts of Rural. We're on valleytv.ca and Valley Community Channel. Catch us on Wednesdays at 10 a.m.
What are we going to do what about if they have concerns, complaints, questions?
Oh, that's the magic of technology. You can type that right in at the bottom of your screen when you're checking the like and share.
Well, what if they're not there at the computer right now and they want to do it later on or stuff? What's going on?
Email us at hello@valleytv.ca.
Oh, will we answer their email or something?
We will, and we might, if they have something that they want to bring up online, we can.
We might even talk about it.
We might even talk
That
about
would be
it.
sort of cool, man.
It would be.
Can I go home and actually send something that we might want to talk about? Is that fair or no? Maybe
Oh,
not.
sure it is.
Okay.
Because, we have to catch you when you're thinking.
We are called Random Acts of Rural, the good, the bad, and the ugly. That could be the bad,
That could be the good.
so it's okay.
Okay.
Anyways, this is Sally and Steve signing off.
Thanks for watching.